Boy, I can just anticipate what's going to happen this week. We're supposed to have a few days of good weather, followed by 3 days of stormy rain, and then it clears up in the Flushing meet. Now last year the Flushing meet, of course, got killed with rain, and the year before killed with rain. So it looks like this week we're coming up on that the rain is 3 or 4 days before. Now I had originally thought I'd use the rainy days to do all the work I had set up and scheduled for the Novanta, but it looks like we have some more fly-in weather, and I'm not going to miss one day because this weather comes and goes, and it comes and goes very quickly and unpredictably. Now many times what I've done in the past is I'd say, oh, I really want to get all these modifications done and everything, and I had lost a lot of fly-in time that I should have used for flying, because the problem is when the weather goes here, it just goes so fast and so unpredictably, and you never get that time back. It's time lost. It's like, and in my case, it's like losing rent. Money you never get back. Boy, is this ever turning out to be a September to remember. Well, I think we've flown almost every day in the month of September. But having checked the aviation weather this morning, I realize we are coming to the end, and it's going to be 3 days of rain, so this might be our last day of flying, and then we're going to get to work on that Novanta. That is nothing better, and boy, I say this over and over again because it gives me a level of appreciation. Being semi-retired here, I remember how many years I had to get on this train and go to New York City, and it was not as much fun as going flying, believe me. So if you're coming up on retirement, you got a lot to look forward to also. Watching the commuters go to work. Why do I love it? I don't know. This guy knows I'm taking his picture. That's the train we don't want to be on. We want to be on the ride to Wild Hog Heaven. Look at that flag. It sure looks like we're going to have a good day today. Oh my. Me oh my. Oh, the Wild Hogs are just unloading the car. Oh my God. And we got more rain coming. Look at this. The rain still hasn't gone away. We still have puddles out in the field. Anyway, we're going to take advantage of every flying day we have here in Wild Hog Heaven. Oh, I see John has the ARF. Ah, he's got the ARF ready. That's my ARF, by the way. It was my ARF. He's got a rebuilt 65 in there. Now Rich is painting a 4-foot line on the truck. You believe this? Look at this graffiti boy here. So that we can see if he's... Well, we're all using it anyway. Well, he's got to measure it. 4 feet. 6 feet, Rich. 6 feet. 6 feet! 6! You're not 6 feet tall. There you go. And we'll see if he's flying accurately. I don't think any of us are flying accurately. We're having too much fun. So the ARF is back. Just when you thought it was safe to buy a Strega ARF. Oh, John, hang on. I'll give you a loan. Hang on. Now we start the day off with a really cool adventure. Well, an adventure with John. John couldn't get the motor started, and I said, "How far out is the needle valve?" "Oh, about 3.5." It was 18 out. As soon as we put it at 3 to 3.5, starts on the first flip. Now that's a key thing to remember. Another thing to remember is that little nut, the little cinch nut that tightens the needle valve up, not to over tighten it and crush that nylon, or it can leak. Another tip from Richard Oliver. So anyway, we're going to work with Rich again today, I hope. Air looks like it's already getting buffety. This may not be as good of a day as we think it is, but we'll get a couple of flights anyway. I'll get the camera downwind because I want to give Rich something to look at, and he's been looking at his DVDs, and I like how he put the, let's see if he flies right through it. Here we go. Oh. Nice, Rich, nice. Let's just see if he goes. This is what the judges, when we were doing our judges training, we were looking at. Yeah, right through, Rich. I hope he's going to use that for his wing over pull out too. Now see, that's another thing. Here's another thing that kills you. If you're used to flying level flight at 7 feet, let's see where level flight is. Yep, 7 or 8 feet, maybe 8 feet. If the bottom is 4, the top is 6, where is level flight here? Anyway, not to be overly critical, but you look down there and you'll see. See, now what Rich should have done would have been better if that was white. White would have shown up better. But see where the level flight is high on every lap. So when level flight is high, if you're used to coming around at 7 feet, watch what happens here at 7 feet, 8 feet. Everything's at 8 feet. What I think I'm going to do tomorrow or the next day, get some white duct tape or white, I think I got white duct tape in the car, and make that, watch where he's going through here, high on every lap. So that's something we could work on, is getting these level laps down. Hey, that one's good. That's the first one. First one that was good. Actually, we should put a white tape right at 5 feet. That'd probably work. I'm gonna see if I got some duct tape. Give that a shot. Anyway, of course the camera's not downwind. I can't see if he's doing the correction, the straight leg on the wing over. And Rich has got 3 things we're working on. The inside squares, right here, that part, he put 1/4 ounce of tip weight in yesterday and said it felt a little better. Well, again, these are the things we're going to find out. If the day holds up, now we always get an hour or so, so it means we always get 1 or 2 flights, but you never know if the air starts going crazy, because we do have a front coming in, and they are saying it's 3 days of bad weather, rain coming this way, even though we got a beautiful blue sky today. Anyway, I'm really hoping that some of this, the stuff that we're doing to Coach Rich, is going to rub off on some other people like Ramo. Ramo sent me another DVD, another video, and he's got equipment now that he can send it to me on a regular basis in DVD format instead of those little tapes. We talked yesterday about how we can do that. That'll be a lot more convenient, easier to edit little snippets out. And of course, I like to put a little bit of the footage we get, pictures, and of course if we get some video, even better. And there definitely are things you can learn from looking at your flight from outside the circle, because remember, the judges see the flight from outside the circle. They don't see it from inside the circle, and it does look different. All right, I'm going to see if I can get a piece of tape up on that truck, see if that works. We always like to ground run a new engine, just in case. Well, they had it running for about 5 minutes here. I guess they just ran out of fuel. All right, it's hard to figure if we're going to get any footage today, but the air is everywhere you want to be. Not a cloud in the sky, it's sun. time I get over here, I want to look at it through the lens. Now what we did, we put a giant piece of white duct tape, I'll show that on a tape, put a giant piece of duct tape on the trailer at exactly 5 feet. And the advantage is, okay, I still got a kink. That's going over crooked now. The first one was the best, I think. But here's what I think is significant for Rich, and I think a lot of people can pick up on this real easy. If you put something around the perimeter of the circle that's 4 to 6 feet high, something that you can identify, and of course don't put it inside the circle or too close to the edge. As you fly around, you should be flying right through that tape. In fact, when we start shooting, if the wind changes, that plane should go right through the tape. And that's how they train the judges, by the way, so it's got to have some validity. And you want to have the camera set at pretty much the height that you're expecting the judges to be. But now I think one of the things that's plagued Rich over the years is Rich was flying his level laps, and this looks better, by the way. Some improvement on that, and that was the biggie. Rich was flying his level laps at 7 or 8 feet, so the wing over pull out at 9 only looked a foot too high. Boy, I wish he could get the shape of the inside square to match the shape of the outside square. The outside square, he's got a good perception of what the shape should be. All the angles are 90, but inside, top leg flies up, and the leg flies back. But you know what? Now that he's seeing more and more of these videos, I think he's going to pick up on. He can identify even some of his own mistakes. You put me out of business here. Now let's look at the intersection on this one, because we got a lot of things we can use for an intersection. Even without the tape, you're in the middle of the blue dumpster. Too short. Got to stretch it out. Look at the height. Just look at the height. That should be flying way out, maybe twice that size. Right here, you could use that tree for your intersections even. A tree in the middle of the two vans. Now that looks like there's some improvement there, but he's still not flying it out far enough. It still should fly out further, Rich, out further. And this is the thing I've done looking at several other people's tapes. Here's he's doing another one. Fly it out. A little better. Fly it out. Miss the intersection. Fly it out. Much better. What it does too, it lets the plane get some airspeed back up at the top. Make up for the fact it doesn't have a strong motor run. And you want to avoid this last little kick up. Right here is where it goes to, yeah, that's better. Okay. I think he was looking at tape last night. He might have picked up on that. And by the way, anybody can do this. A beginner can do this, is you can analyze your own pattern. That was nice. You just got to be brutally honest with yourself. You got to put that tape on a screen where you think 45 degrees is. Put a straight line down the middle. Now I'm saving working on this overhead 8 for some later time, because Rich there's a lot of body positioning things, and see, after the 8 he flies back on an angle. He should be flying straight down. And of course, I do the same thing. And that was very difficult. That's probably the hardest thing I've had to work on, is the overhead 8. Should fly it out more. Fly it out. A little better on that leg. Fly it out. When you get there, Rich, fly it out about another 2 feet. Now, I really think realistically, every flight, and if Rich goes home and looks at the video, I don't see any way this cannot get better and better and better and better. I'm really hoping this is going to be a key to, well, see, we're here at the field every day in the morning anyway. So there's no reason not to do this, because we can always just fly for fun. We can always just fly around in circles and tell each other how great we are, but when you look at it analytically and you look at it in real time on the video, you really, and if you're honest with yourself, you know you're going to find these gross errors that are difficult. They're difficult to work on, but it can be done. And we're certainly going to keep working on it. I think Johnny's going to fly the ARF next, and then I'll get one more flight. Okay, John's up, and then I'll be after John. top. The wiggle on the walk and the jiggle in the talk. Alright, I see we're near the end of the tape. We may not get this whole flight on tape, but alright, let's see now. We're talking between flights. Let's see if he can do some of these corrections. And the problem is the wind is coming up right now. This is going to be a short day. And it's not coming up in a nice steady breeze. It's coming up and swirling around on us. And we'd like to have good air for this kind of coaching stuff. But I think we're getting these 3 big days of rain coming, so I'm planning out my strategy for the Novanta. Did a couple more tune pipes made. We got the pipe at 19 today just to start off, and it looks like it's in the ballpark. It looks better than yesterday. We played with it yesterday, moved it back and forth. It was happier the longer I made it. Okay, now that's, oh, that, all right, yo! That last one, he had it. All right. Well, that's the first square inside he's done. Could fly these out just a little more. They're still a little bit too short. They still could fly out just a little bit, Rick. Triangle, usually Rich doesn't have any issue with. See, what really happens is people have habits that are very hard to break, and no matter who you are, once you ingrain yourself with a habit. Now this, we want this maneuver to fly it out. Fly it out. Let it, no, look how tight that is, look. Rich, you're not gonna like looking at that one on the screen. You don't want to show Gene Martin that one. Fly it out! He knows I was hollering last time. Good. Much better. Fly it, fly it. Much better! See, the more you fly it out too, the easier it is to do the maneuver. A lot of times you box yourself into making things hard. Now this extra hook on the bottom, this is all fine. But that last hook right here, it should never go past level. He's got it going up and then turning around. And judges pick up right up on that. Say that was acceptable. Now the overhead 8, I think it's Rich's body position that's the problem. And the way I'm figuring this out is because I'm doing this thing that Bill Zimmer suggested of leaning way back. And you get a better look at the maneuver that way, a better chance of picking it up. But it's certainly still my weakest maneuver. Fly it out, fly it out. Nope, too short. Fly it out, fly it out. There you go. Fly it out, fly it out. Nope, too short. You want to fly that, when you get that first loop, fly it out a little. Come around, fly it out, because you're going right through your, when you put the tape on, you're going to see you fly right through your own maneuvers. But still, every day we do this, and every flight we record, and every flight Rich looks at, I think there's an improvement. Well, our weatherman was absolutely right. Rain, rain, go away. So we're going to use the rainy day. What I did is I pulled everything apart methodically. Now one of the things I was going to think about doing, see, I can't really shim this tank anymore because what happens, it hits the header right here. So what I would have to do is make a shorter tank. Yeah, I can do that. But I do have some of the original tanks that we made for the plane that were fine. So while I'm making up a tank, and it takes 4 days to make another test tank, I can make a tank maybe an eighth of an inch shorter, and that may get me through here. But what I really wanted to do is get this shim where I know it's turning, or the motor's turning on and off equally. Now that's a lot more of a challenge with this plane, and I don't know why. In Jose's plane, it was relatively predictable. In this plane, it's very, very difficult, and it wants to go way up off the mounts, but it's that tank, so I don't know if something's flunky in that tank. But what's nice is when I pull this plane apart, this is what I love. Everything whistle clean. There's never any giant goop oil anywhere. Everything stays relatively dry, clean. You don't even get dirty working on it. And that's been one of my goals all along. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is spend, well, whatever amounts to be the rainy day. I got to put pressure fitting in a pipe. I already got this ground around, and that's what you have to do with a Dremel tool if you put a pressure fitting in a pipe. I cut the stinger down a little bit, shorten it so it didn't stick out of the plane so far. We know the motor was pretty happy with that prop. Good place to start, among other things here. But the number one thing here is the tank shim. That's what I want to get right in the next couple of days that we do get to fly this plane. If I can get that tank shim right. Now, I had originally thought I'd cut this floor out, but you know, again, I'd like not to do that. That's a last resort. So I have the better part of a rainy day to work on this now, and I'll see what I can come up with. The problem, you know, the problem with everything is, yeah, if you had a whole nother lifetime to spend, everything would be fine. But I'm trying to do this in what amounts to be these last few good days of the year, and just in case tomorrow is a good day, I'd like to have this ready if possible. Now with the original tank in there, and I'm not sure we're going to be able to shim that up enough, because I think what's going to really have to happen here is I'm going to have to cut this tank floor out. I'm maybe just giving this one final test, but because I have to take the tank that was in there, and I'm going to put a little V-notch in it, because what happens, it interferes with the header if you shim it up anymore. I'm going to have to make a custom little divot in the tank there. May have to do it to this one too. But I want to make it that I can use pipe pressure too, so I made up an extra little vent. Now it's really difficult. I'm going to have to get right on the edge of the motor mount here to get this. That's going to be a little bit tricky, I think, just getting that right in the right spot. Well, with the pressure attached, now there's only one thing. We have the extra vent in place. That worked out okay. And there's only one thing we need. A good day tomorrow to test, but the weather report is not in our favor. It's not supposed to be a nice day, but we'll just see what comes our way. Now last night I went to visit my new eye doctor, and he had some great ideas for me. First of all, he gave me a big eye test. This was really important. And he gave me, he did a test on my Varnays, which my eyes are not matched to these by quite a bit. So that might be one of the problems I've been having these vision issues with. And of course, I've always had Varnays. I've always wanted Varnay glasses. But what I did get, and he loaned these to me, is a pair that's in my prescription, and my two eyes are different. So this is a set of legitimate my prescription glasses, and what he said to try to do is fly with these, which are no prescription, just to see if this prescription is going to improve my eyesight or improve my vision on a plane. But then the big news is, the big thing here, and I want to just get these out of the case here. And he had a pair of these. Now these are over $400, but what they do is they wrap around your eyes, and they're the most wraparound glasses you can buy in this, what's the name of the company here? Maui Jim. What they do is they wrap around the sides of your eyes. Now what I thought was important with these, notice the Varnays don't wrap around, they're kind of flat. So by having this wraparound feature, it blocks the light out from the side, which may be a big help with this flying into the sun. So what I thought I'd do today, because I want to do that tank shim in an Ovanta, even if it's an unflyable day, I want to get some flights just to check. And if this is my new prescription, this is the good prescription that now is going to work, what I'm going to get is a set of these glasses in my new prescription, and then just keep these for a spare in case I lose these or break them or whatever. But I put a lot of time and energy into getting the right glasses because I know, see, it's been 5 years since I really did this, and that's way too long at my age. This should be every maybe 2 years. Because as you age, of course, your eyes change. So this will be an interesting test, along with trying to get this tank shimmed in an Ovanta today. And it said no rain until tomorrow night. The liars. You know, another thing, I can remember back in the 80s, the Vogue thing was everybody, including myself and Bob McDonald and other people that had similar eye situations, we were wearing Weldon goggles. And because we didn't need prescription glasses, that worked fine. Weldon goggles, if you don't need a prescription, are fine. And they have the side shields too. But when you start needing one eye different than the other and all these other issues that I have, you got to do the homework and you got to spend some time and money to get the glasses right. And we're going to do that today. See, here's what I like about Vuarnet. See, if you look through a Vuarnet, that's when you're trying to fly the plane, that's what you see instead. Now these are the other glasses. They're lighter, the wraparounds. There's no prescription, but see, they're all scratched up. And now these are the Maui Jims. So we're going to give these, and the biggest thing is the wraparound feature. We'll see how this is going to work. We're going to put this to the test today. See if our eye doctor, if he knows more than I do about flying, which is very likely. Maybe just a little. Now, the one thing I know for sure is, in my case, as my eyes have changed, it comes upon you very gradually and you don't realize, and all of a sudden you're at the eye doctor, you put a pair of glasses on that have the right prescription, and it's like a magic trick. It's unbelievable. And if these new sunglasses work out the way I hope, I hope not only an improvement of flying, but an improvement of your whole life. So we're gonna see today. I'm really gonna spend some time today doing some research on this. Well, the river's full of little waves. That usually means not real promising, but nothing seems to stop the wild hogs. I'm not sure we're gonna get our well, we're gonna get the eyeglass test done today, and hopefully get the Novanta tank shim done. And the early hogs are already here, hogging up the good air, as all true hogs do. Hogtavio and Hoggabone. Yeah, wind's already up. Now, as we're getting some flights in here, I noticed a couple of things. The Vuarnets have a different look in terms of the color red. The Vuarnets, the red is a little more muted and dark than the Maui Jims, which I don't know if it's an advantage, because see, here's the problem. And by the way, see, I don't know if I got this yesterday on a DVD or the day before. The white stripe we put on a trailer so that we could see where 4 feet is, or 5 feet. That's kind of been helpful, but let me just show what I'm getting at is when you're flying a plane, okay, now you've got this distance. This is basically 70 feet. Now, when I did the test, and what I did, I just used the prescription glasses, the clear glasses with those wraparound no prescription glasses. It changed the color of the plane. It made the plane more maroon and harder to see. The Maui Jims and the Vuarnets both make the red redder, and I don't know how it does that. But it's easier to see the plane with either one of the Maui Jims. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a couple more flights here, even though these are meaningless right now, because what happens with the pipe that I found out after running it for a certain amount here, when you're running the pipe, you really have to put a lot of head gaskets in, and I got to put some more head gaskets in, because what's happening is the pipe has made the engine way more powerful than it is with the header. And the ways of detuning that, of course, are to take some pitch out of the prop, and I don't want to do that because this engine likes to run at a lower RPM. We're getting plenty of mileage. I think it's just simpler now to add some head gaskets to it, and I think we'll be close. But the way the wind is, I don't think we're going to get many, if any, flights today. Well, let me get some head gaskets in there. Now what happens with the 90 is pretty much the same as the 76. When it runs a header, you can restrict it down to where it'll run, well, 5-pitch props, 6-pitch props. You got a wide range just by restricting the outlet. But with a pipe, it almost guarantees it's going to want to get up and go. So the only way, realistically, we could restrain it right now, or the easiest way that I know, we'll just put a couple more head gaskets in it. Now we have the Hemi head, we have the stock head, and we have one head that Dave Midgley machined out that's a little bit too low on compression, but the Hemi head with, well, I don't know, I think we had 8 head gaskets in it before, but they're thin, they're 2,000s each, so it's like a fake number. It's probably about 20 thousandths a gasket, maybe 25. I'd have to measure it when I get back to the shop, but that'll allow me to get one more run on it today. The shim looked pretty close, but again, I can't really fine-tune it in this air. We got runaway air here, and I don't want to take any chances with the plane this late in the season, because if I got to do another major repair, it's going to stall out and postpone working on the Spitfire, and I really want to get cranking on that. Now another thing we're finding out, or I'm finding out as time goes by, as you restrict the exhaust, you can up the compression, of course, and the Venturi. But as you open up the Venturi, and this is a 225 and a Hemi head, as you open it up, once you put a pipe on the motor, it breathes a whole lot better. So it could be that we're going to have to figure out if we're going to put some pantyhose on the intake and or head gaskets. In other words, you've got to restrict the motor a certain amount. Or in the case of putting a low pitch prop, I really don't want to put, you know, a 4-pitch prop on a plane. I'd really like to keep it with the pitch that's in Doran's big prop and work around that prop if possible. And what's nice about this is you can do this relatively quickly. If you go too far, the gaskets are very thin, so you can take 1 or 2 out. It's a real micrometer fine-tuning, the head gaskets that work on the 90. It's nice that they're that thin because you can really fine-tune the engine. Well, I think that should be a lot closer, but we're not going to get a chance to test this in this crappy air. And again, because we're at the end of the season, there's nothing really that we're preparing for of any consequence. And what I want to do is I want to do this methodically and add or take away head gaskets now till I get it fine-tuned. It looks like I'm close, maybe, but I've got 64th plywood shims now. I've got a spare tank. And what I'm going to do with the tank that originally was in there and I couldn't shim it enough is put that little notch in it, and then I can raise it up to where the shim on the 90 seems to be way off the mounts. Even in Jose's plane, for some reason, whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter. That's the way it is, and basically that's what we got to live with. But once we get done with this test, I want to run off to the eye doctor and get myself a set of those Maui Jims. And I'll have both then. I'll have the Varnays with the little bit out-of-date prescription and the Mauis with the brand new prescription. And I think now that I've done the homework, I can see there's going to be a gain there. And every day that we're at the field, we learn something. Sometimes it's something worthwhile, sometimes something very inconsequential. But we try never to go home without putting something in the database. And we did put a few things in the database about the eyeglasses today, and that's a significant thing. And we're learning more and more about the Tune Pipe 90 setup. It's got to be decompressed, it's got to be restricted in some way, or it's got to go in a much bigger plane like the Spitfire, a much wider, draggier airplane. Anyway, we learned something. Well, the eye doctor is in. We're gonna go get our Maui Jims. Now, it was nice that he let me test these because I wouldn't want to have gotten them without putting them to the test at the flying field, let's put it that way. Not for $400. Now I got another tape from Ramo today of some of the action that's going on in his shop. Put a couple of minutes of that on here. And then I have something really special I got from Rory Tennyson. I got it a while back. I've been looking at it. I'll take a few minutes out of it. The excerpts from this tour railroad video, and we're giving serious consideration to including it in on our trip out to the Northwest in probably in a year or two. That's one of the areas Karen would like to really explore, go to, and this railroad looks like something very appealing to me. Anyway, we're going to include a few minutes of it on there. But first, Ramo. Ramo, we really appreciate sharing this information and stuff, and I know you're enjoying sharing our little adventures here in the world of the flying Palisade Park hogs.
Due to different things that has come up, I helped my son Jonathan to build his plane. He has a school project, and that took me almost 2 months out of my normal schedule. The main reason is I brought 2 of these Strigos back to Sweden. One for myself, and this is the one you are looking at now. And the other one I will take to the nets and try to sell it. And get someone else to build one. And hopefully they will. Okay, this is now a Ray Brother deflection, and as you can see, when full up it's almost neutral, and full down I have some 10 degrees or something. So I think that linkage is in the right way now. And my assistant Hannah is helping me. Thank you, Hannah. By the way, Wendy, I want to show you what Hannah is doing. She likes to paint. So here you have a butterfly she has done, and up there fruits, and this is all hand painted. I think it's with is it oil? Acrylic. So she's working, and that one, can you move it a little bit? So that one is the latest one she's been doing. It's out of a picture in the magazine. Here, it's I think it's in Gotland. So, and yeah, it's all if smiling. So if we compare them, you can see there's the picture in the magazine, and here's the picture she's painted. There's a white spot in the middle, but it's because she's correcting it a little bit. She's not done with the painting yet, but as you can see, pretty close. I know you like painting and stuff like this, so this is her special hobby. Do you like it?
Yes.
How long have you been doing this?
A few days.
Yeah, this painting is.
Yes.
But otherwise, painting.
All my life.
All your life, you like it.
Yes.
Yes. So we have our hobbies. Jonathan has his music, Hannah painting, Lovisa likes sporting, Christopher, he's a mix of everything, I guess. Okie doke.
Okay, now we're at our home field, and we're trying to do as much flying as possible so we can evaluate what we have to do with the plane and try to make it the best we can. And these Swedish nationals haven't had a lot of time to prepare either. We hope to get the most out of this, and we hope the weather will get better also, because now the wind is kind of rough. Yeah, it's gusty. That will get better too. We have gusts up to 15 knots. You can probably hear that in the camera.
Okay, this is the competition day. It's Nats in Sweden. It's very windy, so not too many showed up. We are only 4 in F2B, and that's not good at all. Strega. Trivial Pursuit. Onwards. And this is the reigning Swedish champion. And this is the former Swedish champion. This plane. Very old plane. I think it's from 89 or something. Could be from 79, I don't know for sure. But it's a version of a Nobler. That's a version of Impact.
Brand new barrack.
Yes, hello.
How do you do today?
Thank you, fine. Staffan Ekström.
Hello.
Hello. And here we have the Swedish legend, Ove Andersson. How many Swedish champions do you have?
27.
And you came second in World Champs here in Sweden.
No.
Third.
Third in Sweden.
Okay.
Second in Helsinki.
Helsinki. And which year was it in Sweden?
82.
82, yeah. So he is our Mr. Stunt. And there we have his rival, our new Mr. Stunt.
Stämningen så att säga, eller känslan va?
Okay. It's still very windy, and this is a result of a blowdown. And he's not the first one, and I guess not the last one either. But he has a smile on his face. He's a happy chap, no problems. This airplane has done its duty up to now, so from now on it will be something else, I guess. Probably a little bit bigger plane. But we all have problems with the wind. I don't know about the judges. I think they are quite comfortable out there. They like this light breeze, as they called it. We call it the storm. Very nice facilities here at Karlskoga. We are in the middle part of Sweden. It's known for their racing track, car racing. So. Up there. Let's see.
Rudolf Ross.
Next up will be Niklas Löfroth with his Trivial Pursuit. Now Ove Andersson is flying. Paul Cleaver. Niklas Löfroth with a Trivial Pursuit. The gusty weather. Och så drar du så här. Visa all sanningen så där, ja.
Ja, ungefär så.
Hur länge har du haft den här modellen?
Jag har haft den i 10 år säkert.
Okej.
Men den är ju säkert 20 år gammal.
Ja. This is the end of the plane.
The end of the...
20 years old.
The end of the
Very
life.
old.
Very old. And
Ja, den här. Ja.
now it's over.
Slänger du
Jag flyger fortfarande med min och den är 40 år gammal.
Tack så mycket.
In English, thank you.
In English?
Yes.
I'm still flying with my plane and it's 40 years old. It's been flown in Kiev 1964
Yeah.
and it's recovered and I'm still flying it. It's
That's good.
nice Nobler.
Yeah. It's the red one.
It's a red one, yes. Du skuggar på.
Okay, so this is the Nobler, 40 years old Nobler. It must be from the original kit,
Green box.
green box Nobler. Still flying. What kind of engine?
OS.
40 or
I don't know.
You don't
it's,
know?
It's a borrowed engine.
okay, borrowed engine. Okay.
Det är något mystiskt med min färg för att det blir på något sätt något mjölkaktigt. Man ser det här lite grann. Och det blir lite kärvt på ytan. Och sen så tar man lite rengöringsmedel och gnider av den så är allting borta igen. Så går det några dagar eller en vecka eller två och så här. Sen ser det tillbaks igen. Ingen av de andra modellerna har råkat ut för det förut. Så det är inte...
Staffan Ekström with his impact, and he's probably been the new Swedish champion. I'm almost out of tape. So we'll see how much I can get of this flight.
Rent i skenen.
Ja. I made 3 flights in the competition. Of course, I'm 4th of 4 competitors, but I have now
Anyway, I really want to thank Ramo for that footage and from the Swedish Gnats. That's pretty cool. I don't know where else we could, any other way we could have shared it and get to meet some of the people from the world of stunt outside the USA, of course. Now this is from Rory Tennyson. I've looked at this many times. This really interests Karen and I, and I'm not going to put the whole thing on. Just going to pull some of the outtakes out of it that I think you'll really enjoy, and then we'll get back to our projects here in the shop. And again, thanks to Ramo, and of course thanks to Rory Tennyson.
On the verge of starvation, the times were ripe for the lunacy that followed. July 17th, 1897, 5,000 people swarmed Swabacker's dock in Seattle as the steamer Portland arrives. On board is a motley collection of miners, their meager belongings, and almost 2 tons of gold, brought down from a remote region in Canada whose name would soon be on everyone's lips. From coast to coast, the cry rang out, "Ho for the Klondike!" By the tens of thousands, men and women abandoned their families, mortgaged their homes and businesses to race north, stricken with gold fever. Others spent their entire life savings in their frenzied rush to strike it rich. The Klondikers sailed north along the Canadian-Alaskan border to the very end of the Inside Passage. Here, they were faced with a choice. Climb the famed Chilkoot Pass, which began at Dyea, or the White Pass above nearby Skagway. Both routes rose quickly over the coastal range from Tidewater to Lake Bennett, where the Stampeders paused to build boats at the headwaters of the Yukon River system. Their destination lay 600 miles downstream, where the Klondike River flows into the Yukon near the North's newest boomtown, Dawson City. Over 30,000 gold-hungry adventurers passed this way on foot during the next 24 months. Most chose to go over Chilkoot Pass, a shorter and better-known trail than White Pass. The Chilkoot was also higher and steeper. Fierce competition soon developed to claim freight hauling fees from the hordes of stampeders landing daily, now even hourly, at Skagway and Dyea. When the first boatload of Klondikers splashed ashore on July 26, 1897, they found themselves on a quiet bay in an empty corner at the end of the Inside Passage. By October of that year, just 3 months later, the sprawling boomtown of Skagway boasted 6,000 residents, 15 general stores, 11 saloons, 9 hotels, and 6 lawyers. This mass of gold-hungry adventurers in Skagway attracted numerous con men and bunco artists. The most infamous of Skagway's characters was Jefferson Randolph Soapy Smith. His nefarious ways earned him an early grave, just outside the boundary of Skagway's Gold Rush Cemetery. Frank Reed, who died in a shootout with Soapy, received a more respectable memorial from the grateful citizens. The mountain. As the stampede intensified, a survey party was sent into these mountains by the Close brothers, a London financial house interested in investing in the North. They were to investigate the feasibility of a railroad from Tidewater to the headwaters of the Yukon. Sir Thomas Tancred, the chief surveyor, announced his decision. The snows were too heavy, the terrain too steep. The railroad would be impossible. He hadn't counted on a man named Big Mike Heaney, who was to step out of the night and straight into the pages of history. Heaney, an Irish-Canadian railroad contractor, had just finished his own survey of the White Pass when he and Tancred unknowingly checked into the very same Skagway hotel. Heaney's opinion of the hardships ahead? Give me enough dynamite and snooze and I'll build you a road to hell. 2 months later, the first hammers rang out. Blasting at Rocky Point consumed over half the total explosives used during construction of the White Pass route. Its solid granite bedrock led some to say Rocky Point would never be reached. About half-mile up the line from Rocky Point, the route parallels the remains of the Brackett Wagon Road. George Brackett, a former mayor of Minneapolis, improved the original Dead Horse Trail and developed a toll road from Skagway through the forests and onto the pass. Brackett and his road were to cause much anxiety for the railroad developers who feared competition. After parallel development by both road and railway gangs for one season, Brackett's operation, in financial difficulties, was purchased by the railroad.
My father was here in 1897. He had been working on the wagon road. We have 2 letters, one in his own handwriting that he wrote to his parents, my grandparents, one on October 1st, one on December 12th of 1897. It said, among other things, that there was going to be a railroad here. I've heard the stories of this place all my life, but now I can see them. So it's a late date for me, but I'm glad I made it.
The railroad grade used some segments of Brackett's original tollway, and other sections can still be seen from the train as it makes its way up the pass. Clifton, site of a construction camp in 1898, is named for the hanging rock formation over the North Switch and provides a wonderful photo opportunity for those at the rear of the train. On to Alaska with Buchanan. This prominent slogan was painted by the Buchanan boys. George Buchanan was a wealthy Michigan coal dealer who brought disadvantaged young boys on an Alaskan adventure during the 1920s and 30s. Cascading from Goat Lake, 1,800 feet above the rails, Pitchfork Falls fashions its signature outline right below the railroad overpass. Just 2 months into construction, a 100-ton block of granite blasted from the rock face fell on 2 workmen and their mules. The site of this tragic accident became a memorial to those 2 men, as well as the 30 others who died during construction. Few died in accidents, most succumbed to diseases such as pneumonia. Upon viewing the enormous granite block, Big Mike Heaney reportedly said, "No railroad workman could expect a finer monument than that." Shimmering across the valley is Bridal Veil Falls, whose pure, rushing streams begin as ribbons of meltwater from the Cleveland Glacier above. As work on the railroad commenced, the highly impatient gold seekers feared the line would never be finished. In truth, the grade was made at an unheard-of speed for the period, a mere 26 months, an astounding feat given the treacherous mountain terrain and back-breaking labor. To simplify the endeavor, the builders specified a narrow-gauge road. Standard railroad gauge is 4 feet 8.5 inches. Narrow gauge has a rail-to-rail width of 3 feet. Other narrow gauge roads had proven their worth in mountainous regions by lowering construction costs while allowing robust freight loads. The tighter turning radius meant fewer cuts when crossing the arduous terrain. The turmoil and general chaos of the stampede left thousands stranded in Skagway, waiting for money or supplies. Many of these were professional men, lured north by thoughts of adventure and riches. These idle doctors and lawyers became the railroad's first laborers. The WP and YR is often said to have been built by the most highly educated workforce ever assembled. Now, when Skagway civic leaders waffled on granting a right-of-way for the tracks, they awakened one morning to the sound of steel striking steel. The gang was in full swing, and rails were already running right down the center of Broadway. Glacier Station, at the second switchback over the Skagway River. Formerly a section house, the train makes a whistle stop here for hikers to Lawton Glacier. An immense amount of blasting was needed to cut the roadbed along the sheer rock walls above the Dead Horse Trail. Over 450 tons of explosives were used, mostly black powder. The placements often reached only by hanging perilously over the gorge on ropes to drill the charges. These were men of almost unimaginable courage, risking their lives on a daily basis to build the line, swinging over empty space with their dangerous cargo of explosives. After a blast, the men frequently had to climb back down the hill and clear the bracket road of debris by hand. Progress was slow and tedious. A true international accomplishment. The WP and YR began with British financing, Canadian contracting, and American engineering. An important milestone of the original construction, 16-mile tunnel, was laboriously blasted day and night from both sides of the mountain throughout the winter of 1898 and 99. Bridge builders faced particularly tough winters on the grade. Heavy snow and biting cold froze fingers and toes, sometimes holding the men to shifts of but 1 hour. Like passengers throughout its history, those of today enjoy a thrill as the train crosses 1,000 feet over Glacier Gorge and disappears into the tunnel. This rare film footage of the route, taken by Thomas Edison in 1901, testifies to the courage of the workmen. The WP and YR boasts an impressive rate of climb. The steep 2.6 average grade, which equals a rise of 141 feet per mile. The maximum grade is 3.9, or 206 feet per mile, between Skagway and the summit. Another spectacular highlight is the steel cantilever bridge at 18.6 miles. The steel bridge was the world's tallest cantilever upon construction in 1901. An impressive achievement for any period of history. This remarkable span of Dead Horse Gulch is nearly 100 years old. As the tour guides will tell you, it's 215 feet from the rails to the bottom of the canyon. In 1955, the WP and YR added another engineering innovation to its long list with the launching of the Clifford J. Rogers, the world's first ship built especially for container cargo. Through the years, the White Pass and Yukon route transportation system has included trains, steamships, planes, trucks, Yukon riverboats, and even horse-drawn sleighs. The passengers were warmed by furs, blankets, and charcoal foot heaters as they traveled along. One of the most remarkable narrow-gauge routes in all of North America. This stunning accomplishment has been designated an International Historic Civil Engineering Landmark, sharing company with such marvels as the Eiffel Tower and the Panama Canal. Scene of one of the sadder tales of the lust for riches, Dead Horse Gulch is so named for the 3,000 horses driven to their deaths under back-breaking loads on the Trail of 98. The visible remains of the actual route used by thousands of stampeders on their way to the Klondike. With little horse savvy and tremendous impatience, the Klondikers subjected their animals to extreme brutalities. Jack London said of the scene, men shot them, worked them to death, and when they were gone, went back to the beach and bought more. Their hearts turned to stone, those did not break, and they became beasts, the men of the Dead Horse Trail. At 2,865 feet above sea level, White Pass Summit marks the border between Alaska and British Columbia, Canada. Northwest Mounted Police kept an outpost here, collecting custom duties and ensuring that each stampeder brought in a ton of supplies, enough to carry them through the long year ahead. In addition to the difficult terrain, the railroad builders had another huge obstacle to overcome: snow. To lay track in winter, a shovel brigade consisting of hundreds of men had to clear 40-foot snow drifts by hand. Arrival at the summit in February 1899 also heralded the arrival of the route's first rotary snowplow later that year. However, use of these giant steam-driven snowblowers was still dependent on shovel power, as the snow had to be trimmed down level with the top of the rotary. Then the 130-ton monsters were shoved headlong into the towering drifts by fleets of engines. The company's first president, Samuel P. Graves, once said of the rotary crews, "Clearly it's no place for a weakling. Your oil cups freeze, your feet freeze, and you've been on your legs for 48 hours. But you must stick to it like a bulldog and get the trains through. And you do if you're a White Pass rotary man." Following a change to more versatile bulldozers in the early 60s, the labor-intensive and time-worn rotary fleet was retired. Historic preservation is important to the WPYR, so with a nod to old Samuel Graves, line president Tom King ordered a thorough restoration of the remaining rotary snowplow number 1. A restoration that was no easy task.
Well, we had a lot of trouble getting parts for the thing. We ended up getting a headlight out of China. We got a lubricator out of Colorado, pulled the trucks out, re-welded all the plates, replaced the springs, new brakes. So, I mean, the thing's now complete top to bottom.
Once the rotary was restored, experienced operators were needed. To fill that need, several former White Pass rotary men were called out of retirement to pass along their operating skills to a new generation.
A lot of things is just experience. You know, when you ride it for years, you feel it too. I mean, after you work on it for a few years, you get the feeling, you know how it rides when it's on the rail, and you know you can pick it up through the floor and the steel of whether you're on the ground or not. If you're not watching for trees or rocks in the slides, you can tear the blades off the wheel when you're going in bucking.
It's a dangerous operation if you don't have the right people, especially on the pusher engine, knowing what is happening on the road trail. because we go by sound.
You have a pilot up there. If he wants the thing to go faster, he just toot ahead. And if he sees something that really wants that wheel to turn faster, he'll toot again.
Just one of only 2 steam-driven narrow-gauge rotary plows remaining in service in all of North America. Rotary number 1 now makes its yearly debut in April, opening the line for summer service. The WP&YR is committed to restoration. Most of the work takes place here at the maintenance facility at 2 Mile. Coaches are carefully dismantled and given a ground-up overhaul. All of these antique passenger coaches, or parlor cars, are named after local lakes. One of these, the Lake Emerald, was built in 1883 and actually predates construction of the railroad. Interest in historic preservation blossoms throughout Skagway. Many shops and businesses are housed in original Gold Rush era buildings. Residents work to maintain modern Skagway's heritage of original structures. Intent on passing along the rich history of the area, the Klondike National Historic Park assists in the preservation of this unique moment in time.
John Anderson is going to open a saloon.
Even prior to the completion of the White Pass Railway, the death knell had sounded for the Chilkoot Trail. Dyea was abandoned, but still draws as visitors both the curious and the adventurous. The curious come to see her moldering remains, contemplate her transience, or pay their respects at the Slide Cemetery, honoring the Stampeders killed in an avalanche on Palm Sunday, 1898. Today's adventurers come to climb the Chilkoot Trail, retracing the steps of the Stampeders, toiling up the Golden Stairs, then tramping into Lake Bennett Station, where the Chilkoot Trail and the White Pass and Yukon Route Railway system come together in a dramatic celebration of Gold Rush history. Steam excursions to Lake Bennett are led by locomotive number 73, a Baldwin Mikado Type 282. Restored in 1982, number 73 has over 50 years of service on the White Pass.
Steam engines are special because they're alive. There's nothing quite like when you're riding behind a steam engine, you see adults and kids alike who are just mesmerized by the rhythm of the locomotive and the thrill of being on the rails.
Arrival at Lake Bennett wasn't the end of the trail for the Klondikers. Dawson was still 600 miles away by boat, a boat which would have to be built by hand. Over 30,000 of them did just that over the winter of 1897 and 1898. St. Andrew's Church, also built during that long winter, lost its entire congregation when the ice went out that spring. The building still stands to this day.
got personalities. Some are better than others. Some fire better than others.
What would you say this was?
This one's a good one.
This is a good one.
Yep.
Well, it has a long ride of a nice 81 miles behind steam. It's nice uphill, lots of good grades, lots of good scenery, lots of good people that run this railroad. I thought the staff, only 8 of them on the train, were just absolutely marvelous.
It's beautiful, magnificent.
The scenery is spectacular. The people in the town of Skagway are incredibly friendly. It's a beautiful place to visit. The railroad is tremendous. It's built in some of the most difficult terrain I've seen, and the engineering feat is incredible. The railroad is nothing but first class.
Fantastic experience. Loved it.
Now, I really wanted to thank Rory Tennyson and thank Ramo for that footage. And we do enjoy sharing this, all the things. It's not just a world of model planes, it's a world that we all share and we're all interested in these various things. And everybody knows I love trains. And boy, I'd sure love to go to Sweden too. And I love my birds. Now, listen to the weather report this morning. Supposed to rain, spotty showers all day, but we're still going to try to steal a day and I'll explain why. Now here's our first tip-off that we're coming up on the very end of the flying season. Not only is it a cloudy, overcast day, but when we see the trees right in our neighborhood starting to turn orange and green, usually now from this point in the year on it gets very iffy whether we're going to get good flying air, but we're certainly going to take every day we get. And as I've many times said, it's from this point on it's all free lunch. We've had a great flying season, and as the leaves turn red and orange, people come from all over the world to see these leaves, and further north of course. But the big blessing is that we have really had a great flying season. Karen had her first experience of growing eggplant and tomatoes, and she loves it. Next year our plan is we're going to take this part of our yard where it's those red stones. We're going to make that into a vegetable garden. We have our flower garden and various things. Chickie's little monument, our picnic area, and of course our pond. But we have enjoyed our backyard this year maybe more than ever before. And it seems like the flowers were just brighter, and just was a wonderful summer. In every way it could be great. But it's that time of year for us and our season. When we see those leaves turning red, we know every day from this point on that we get to fly is just a special little gift. But we're going to take every one of them. And I think the wild hogs are already down the field. Karen, how many more days before retirement? 31, I already counted them. 22.
I have to count today.
And she'll be free to go flying with me every morning. Actually, we're going to plan on, in the flying season, we're right by the track. We're going to do our walking and flying. But we're getting ready for retirement. I can't wait. What a season it's been. What a life it's been, and I'm so happy that you can share it with us. Now I remember every day like it was on DVD of the last month that I worked at Ford. I was counting down the days like a guy in Alcatraz looking to get out. And I'll never forget that last day, walking out. It's an unbelievable thing, the day you retire, and Karen's really looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to it also. Something very special about the last couple of times that you get on that commuter train or make that ride to your job. And then for Karen and I, a month from now, we're gonna be starting our new life. A whole new schedule. This really hurts. We're down to having one vet every day on a Raider field. There used to be 3, a red, blue, and a black. The only one left is the black one. So if you're gonna buy this one for me, you better get it while it's hot. Oh, I was inspired by seeing these vets every morning. I know other people have them, including Les, of course. But I don't have a vet. I only have a Testarossa. Well, I see the hogs are already here. And by the way, I now have a first-generation copy of the Wild Hogs, the real Wild Hogs with John Travolta. If anybody would like one of my bogus copies, they can just let me know and I'll shoot them a copy. Well, looks like we got... The hogs are hogging up the good air, as usual. And we got somebody else here. Who's that? Mike Cooper, I guess. Joining the hogs. Could it get any better than this? Than being a wild hog, counting down your retirement. Look at this, I got a DVD for Rich. I made him a copy this morning. He's gonna love this. Happy birthday, Rich.
Hey!
Susan told me it was your birthday. I went and bought you a copy of the real Wild Hogs.
Oh, thank you.
This is the name of our club, the Wild Hogs.
Thank you.
Did you get to see that?
That movie was funny.
Priceless.
You're all right, you know.
You can give it to your friend with the Harley.
Rutherford tells you.
The hell with Bill Rutherford.
I don't care.
Give it to
I don't believe it.
give it to Harley boy when you're done with it.
I will. I'm gonna give it to John.
So Mike Cooper is joining the hogs. We now have 5 hogs. It's a 5-hog day. Hey, that really is a funny movie though. That is a good movie. I gotta make a copy for Ramo, in fact, because I know as part of American culture, Ramo, we get to see the Swedish Nationals, a little taste of the Swedish Nats. Rory Tennyson, we get a little taste of the Northwest, the railroading and how that went down. And you got to see the Wild Hogs. That's really cool. Now, 2 of the things we want to do today, we want to test the pipe that's in there now. We have 3 of them and see if we can get any better runs on this. And we still need to work on that tank shim. And hopefully the air will stay with us long enough that we'll get some flights today. And we want to coach Rich. We see the white line down there. Now let's pretend I'm a judge. Let's see if he's, number one, if he's got his level flight any better than before. Look, 7 feet. So the whole thing starts with knowing where 4 to 6 feet is. I want to just do this. This is one of the things Rich has been watching a lot of videos. Let's see as he comes around inverted. See, you're at 7 feet, Rich. And this is what I think part of the thing that's making it difficult for him to get his bottoms placed where he'd be happy with them, especially the wing over. Anyway, this is an easy thing to do, and I remember Sergei Belko had a circle where they had a fence or something around it. He had a little marker about every 20 feet. See where Rich is? You're at 7 to 8 feet here for all the maneuvers. And that's it. Now from Rich's point of view, I think you just gotta, 7 feet. Right? At least you're consistent. Consistently 7 feet. That's 9 feet. But see, that's what makes this a lifelong journey to fly stunt, is if you could just do it and get it over with, like sinking a putt. I don't know. But you never get there. There's always something. It's a Gilda Radner event. It's always something. And is always trying to make the plane cooler or more powerful or sleeker looking or more scale-like or something. It's always a journey, it's never a destination. Anyway, Karen's on her countdown. 22 days to retirement. She is getting out of Attica. See, still at 9 feet, Rich. And we'll talk about it between flights, but yeah, oh, that one was down there. Maybe he heard me. I remember in the years Bob Barron used to have headphones. Mike Rogers would be coaching him with headphones on. And a little to the left, Bob, a little to the right. And so we went out and bought a set of headphones, and then we tuned into their frequency, and we, in the middle of a maneuver, we go, "Watch out, Bob!" I think we got some of that on the older videos, too. I think we still have the headphones somewhere in the cellar. The battery's probably dead by now, but didn't work for me. Much better to shoot video. I can play it back over and over again, too. Now what I'm hoping is going to happen is we're not going to have the wind change or start swirling around. It looks like the breeze is steady. The objective here, I want to get a couple of flights on the Navanta. Got some head gaskets in it. Got the pipe. I don't know if we got the restriction right on the pipe yet. We'll see after a couple of flights. Mike Cooper's flying. I should get the fly after that. Hope the weather holds up. We already have some little ripples on the river. What's he doing? I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, they're coaching each other. We're trying to help Rich. We're trying to get Rich's perception of level flight to be at even down 1 or 2 feet, because then all your bottoms hopefully will come down, and then last but not least, the wing over pull out will come down. We're working on it. We're working on it every day here, and we're trying to steal every day we can until Old Man Winter comes in to bite us. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to see right there from that footage, 8 head gaskets. Really softened it up to where it just was too soft. So from this point on now, we're going to start to take head gaskets out. We're going to take half of them out, and I'll explain this down at the field, I believe I did. And we're going to wind up at the end of the day with several of these changes, but each one got progressively better, and at the end of the day, you'll see, I think we made some real progress. And this would, by the way, this would work any motor, any motor. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to see right there from that footage, 8 head gaskets. Really softened it up to where it just was too soft. So from this point on now, we're going to start to take head gaskets out. We're going to take half of them out, and I'll explain this down at the field, I believe I did. And we're going to wind up at the end of the day with several of these changes, but each one got progressively better, and at the end of the day, you'll see, I think we made some real progress. And this would, by the way, this would work any motor, any motor. Okay, now you can see from that run that we've got too many gaskets in there now. In other words, yesterday it was too powerful. Today it's kind of just dying, with everything else being the same. So what we have is I'm going to take half of the amount of head gaskets out, see if I like it better or worse. And then each time cut the amount in half. In other words, if you had 8 head gaskets in, put 4 in. Then if it's in the wrong direction, you can put 6 or 2. But you can fine tune it down, and that's what's nice about the 90 with the thin gaskets. All of the gaskets are in there probably equal 1 Super Tiger 60 gasket. There's 8 2,000ths gaskets. So 8 16,000ths. So by fine-tuning it, what's nice is you can really, like prop pitch, you can really fine-tune it to where it really is exactly what you want. Now, but the problem is with the pipe, not a problem, but the 2-cycle really does get racy. It really lets it unload the 2-cycle. So we may have to either make a more restrictive pipe, a thinner stinger, put a rubber duck on the end. We got a lot of choices, but it's going to be a good day to do it because it looks like the rain is already coming in here and the wind is already going, so this will be a good day to do these tests. Now, it's always good if we can, and today's a kind of a throwaway day with the air going bad and rain coming in. This will be a good day to do our head gasket stuff. And then what we're going to wind up with is a setup. We already have the setup if we run the header muffler. What we need is the setup that's going to work with the pipe. And hopefully we'll get some of this done and some of it on video today. So right now at this point we know where too powerful is and not powerful enough. We're going to go right in the middle, take half of the head gaskets out. What we're going to do is we're going to take half of the amount out. We're going to take 4 out. So we're going to wind up the next part of this. We'll have 4 of the gaskets. You ready for launch? Alright, so now all that's left, button this up, give it another run. Now, if it's down to where it's too powerful, we'll add gasketing. If it's not powerful enough, like it was on the last slide, if it's soft, and obviously that changes with the weather, the flying conditions, the weight of the model, but fine-tuning it with head gaskets, especially with the 90, very easy to do. The gaskets are thin, and you have an infinite amount of choices. Okay, this test will be the first cutting of the head gaskets. Mike Cooper's going to get a flight, and then we'll get to see how this is going to work out. But again, if you know how to go about doing this methodically, it's just like adjusting a needle valve in, needle valve out. Less head gaskets, more 2-cycle power. You can take any engine and just put so many head gaskets in, it'll have no runaway 2-cycle power. And you can do the exact opposite. You You can take all the head gaskets out and make it as powerful as possibly could be, like a pylon engine. And finding that mid-range, that point of tuning, that's what engine tuning is all about. Whether it's a 90 or a road jet or a PA, a double start. Tuning is tuning is tuning. And the thing is, even when you get it close, you can always fine-tune it. Hot weather, take a gasket out. Cold weather, put a gasket in. Infinite fine-tuning, just like the prop pits. Now, you have another issue that Mike Cooper is working on. Okay, now what Mike Cooper, the problem that he has is he's got a very restrictive muffler on this, and I would.
The wing over on the opposite.
Yeah, there didn't move. I still feel it in my face. No, don't, Rich. You're gonna upset him.
He's got to do the maneuvers here.
You're gonna get the guy upset.
I guess the guy said he's doing the maneuvers opposite the wind.
Yeah, that's no good. No, the wind may be moving, but not 180 degrees. It's moving now. But here's the point now. Mike's got the plane pretty nicely tuned. And for a plane without a pipe, it's relatively quiet. But the way he's getting the quiet is by having the back of where the Stinger would be, it's way smaller than it should be. And he's got a half of a rubber duck on there. Now look at, he's going high too. The problem is it goes through the pattern relatively well, but at the end of the pattern, for about 4 or 5 level laps, it just detonates itself all to death. And what happens is, at the end of the pattern, when it goes lean, the air's trying to pump more air through that little hole, and it starts backing up the heat into the engine. And then it starts sounding like there's ball bearings loose in a crankcase. It starts rattling. Then the detonation itself blows by the piston and makes it even worse. It's like a downhill slide. But it'll run through the pattern fine. Now what Mike... Well, oh geez.
Oh shit!
Wing came off?
Oh what? Man, oh that's a foam wing.
Yeah, that's broken already. Well... I'm not sure Mike's going to want to see that on video over and over. Well, I guess we're not going to have to worry about the motor going lean now. No, but this is one we've already fixed. And what happens, it's like the A26, it only lasts a certain amount of time. Because we glassed that at the field, and what we did, we glassed it, and I'm sure the wood underneath everything was oil soaked, but he got an extra couple of years out of it. I'll have to look back in the video and see when that originally broke. I remember it broke at the Circle Burner field. Anyway, I think he's going to be able to glue it right back together. Or just order another SV11 wing. But very similar to the A26. We glassed over wood and everything that at this point in time already had a stress riser in it. And it lasts for some time, but it seems like it doesn't last forever. But
it's flying reasonably well with only one wing.
Well, we'll see when Mike comes down. Maybe he wants to do a windy repair on this. I don't know. We certainly have put a lot of them back together that I like this. See, one thing, a dope finish would have given this a lot of strength, and fiberglass in the middle, Monocoat doesn't add any strength.
Sure,
so where the glass, see where it broke, it's all oil soaked.
So there's no tissue on here or anything.
Right, and plus his exhaust was exhausting into right on the wing.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Well,
look at the oil on that. Don't give me baby. Yeah, that's what happened. It's oil soaked. All right, but it doesn't look like it's unrepairable.
Well, he could repair this, but I would certainly recommend putting some fiberglass on.
Oh, out to here. Get rid of the Monocoat and then re-Monocoat over it.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can't really hear the engine detonating now, but as it runs out of fuel, it is detonating. You can hear that detonation.
Yeah, he can fix this.
Oh yeah, it's fixable.
I certainly would repair it if I were him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Get some K2R and get rid of some of this oil situation, and that's it.
That even glides nice.
Not a bad landing. That was a pretty good motor run. It's pretty good.
Yeah, all you got to do to get the motor to run is cut the outboard wing off. You're just jealous because my A26 did the same thing. Jealousy is an awful thing in modeling. But seriously, we always try to learn from these things. We try to piece together what happened and why. And the biggest thing is the glass, the ellipses of glass should go out maybe to here, second one, third one, and that would have totally prevented this kind of thing. And also exhausting the oil, the hot oil down onto the wing. Not a good idea. Not a great idea because, as you can see, some of that oil works its way right down into the wood joints and everything else. Mike, you're very lucky. There's really no damage other than putting the wing back together. Well, I'll tell you though, that was one of the most exciting days we've had here at the Wild Hog Heaven, baby. Wow. Let me look, flip that over. You know, because when I looked at the exhaust before, it looked like you were getting oil all on top of the wing. Remember, this broke in the middle, but it didn't break in the middle.
No, it didn't. It broke.
No, the middle where we fixed it, it broke right here.
It broke past the glass. See?
Yep. Yeah. Now, what we should have done, obviously, take them
further.
No, ellipses. Yeah. Ellipses. This makes a stress riser, and see, it broke right almost.
There. Yeah, and this is the same thing here.
Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know.
You can glue this on and glass it, because it didn't break inside.
No.
Just glass it out to here, 4 or 5 coats of glass.
Yep.
And then take some tip weight out.
Take some fiberglass matting.
Yeah.
I have it.
Yeah.
Put it right over it.
Yeah, but I'm not going to fly it anymore today.
You're kidding! You sissy! You better tough it out if you want to be a wild hogs never stop.
Wow,
but see, my A26, the bomber that broke after I fixed it, it lasted about a year. The oil worked its way in there, and the same thing happened.
Oh, you were there when it.
Yeah. You were there when it broke. Yeah, what am I talking? What am I selling you for? Nah, you got a couple of scratches, but it's not bad. It's not unfixable.
It just bounced around on the asphalt a little.
I wanted to get it out of there because I thought maybe you'd land on it and cut it in half or something.
You can fix that.
Nah, that's nothing.
That's nothing. Nothing to it. Piece of cake. It was getting windy anyway.
You're kidding. I got it on video. I can't imagine that could be more, like, you scared me. I thought something happened. The motor came out or something.
There, but that's not where it broke. No, don't wreck the.
No, don't.
No, this is a professional Monaco finish. Are you kidding?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I got more.
Well, you're welcome to come down the house after we fly. I'll put it together in a half an hour for you.
Yeah,
I don't fool around.
And whether it's aligned or not,
you'll be flying this afternoon.
It'll look like my wounded warbird.
Now, how many times has he flown the wounded warbird? Does he ever buy me a pizza?
Yeah,
does he ever? Get the hell out of here! He gets short arms and long pockets.
You know, the stabilizers.
Oh,
it's perfect.
What a sissy!
Let it dry.
What a sissy! No way.
The best was when Steve said to me, you whispered in my ear.
Stevie McBride said his tail's in crooked.
You know, I said, really?
Wow.
Are you sure? Well, talk to Wendy.
Well, you've initiated yourself into the Wild Hog. Look, he's even got a Wild Hog shirt on. Is that a Harley shirt? Look at, I can't believe. Yeah, he's got a Harley shirt on. Look at this guy. He wanted to be a hog so bad. He did a wheelie and his front wheel came off. Man.
It never fails with you, Wendy. Something always goes wrong when I fly.
The day ain't over. I can do something too.
I come down here to fly. The first thing that happens is I'm unwinding my lines. They get tangled up in a knot. Never happened before, but Wendy's here, it happens.
Looks like the weather is about to change.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's coming down.
Yeah, well, I'm going to look around. I don't even want to fly it. By the way, now we may get, because the weather is closing in here quick, we may get one more run with 2 gaskets in, and that should get us closer and closer and closer. Each run is getting better than the one before, so, but it's a question of, are we going to run out of weather, or are we going to get some more flights? Okay, the guys are leaving. I'm going to have to use the Stooge the rest of the day, but just a couple of reminders. You always want to do the You always want to do taking the engine, the head off, on or off, always when it's cool. Always want to let it cool off between flights. Don't want to have it red hot. Don't want to even have it warm. Best to torque it back down, star position. It's an 8-bolt head, so doing it in a star position is always a good idea. Actually, for any engine, even a 6-bolt head or a 4-bolt head, good idea. Now, we're down to having 2 gaskets. Now that's going to mean that the next flight probably is going to be approaching where when it had no gaskets in it, it was racy. So we're coming up on that point. Now, because the air density is in the 90s, it's still going to allow us that if we get down into the 80s, we might want to take one of those gaskets out. And that's where it gets to be fine, very fine tuning. Also, if we have some time today, I have some other 4-bladed props and I brought the 2 blades. I might want to run the motor just a little bit softer with a little more pitch in the prop. And if I have some time to do some throwaway flights today, that'll be one of the things I want to try, of course. And then, of course, we have 2 more of these pipes. This is just the initial one. 1/2-inch outlet. We have one with 2 outlets. I was just afraid that was going to be just a little bit too racy, but we have the one that Mike Scott has. He has one of those. And there's 4 altogether, and I have 3 of them. So, when we get to the end of the test with this pipe, then any time we have left later this year, we'll probably play with one of the other pipes, or in the worst of all worlds, we can always go back to put the header in a plane. And actually, we'll probably do that at the end of our test, because we want to have the header on the motor and the tank shim ready to bolt into the Spitfire when we get to that point. And we're probably legit a month away from that point where we're going to start making up the body. Now, as this day wore down with the stooge and we got to try to get close on the head gasket, we wanted to go against our 2-bladed prop, which was the best we had with the header, and just try to see if that combination is of any value. I doubt we're going to get any good footage off the tripod because the air seems to be coming in here very quickly. In fact, we had just a couple of sunshine raindrops come down. So if we don't get anything off the tripod today, that'll be perfectly okay too. But it's been a good day so far. Okay, now we have a unique situation we got to be aware of. Keep an eye on the guy in the pickup truck. He's driven through the circle twice already today. I think he's drunk. We really don't know. He's just hanging out in the middle of nothing. He'll just drive through the circle.
as you can imagine, I always enjoy working on these and flying these guys, especially when I have both of them at the field at the same time. But the Novanta has a personality all its own, and some of it is that classic, I don't know, I guess classic sound motor run with the pipe. Even it has the same sound, deep, throaty, big block sound. And when I fly it back to back with the Testarossa, I always, for some reason, I always like the sound of the Novanta better.
The Wild Hogs survived another day. You can see by the flag in the background, this day is already gone. But we did get a lot of flights. We got a lot done. I don't know if any of these are going to be on decent off the tripod. But again, what we have is more data in the database on our 90 pipe setup. And even though we probably will be using the header on the Spitfire because of the design of the plane and because we're going to want that loud rumble, we still would like to have the option of running the pipe, and the best of all worlds is to have everything. But as this is evolving, every time I come back from a session like this, I just feel like at least I've learned something. And somewhere down the road, I'll know what I'm doing. And boy, I don't know if you noticed, in some of this footage from the tripod, we had this drunk guy, and he was just staggering and slurring his words and drinking Bud Light. And he'd step on the lines, he'd drive out onto the circle, and then he sat in the car for a good hour, just sat there looking like he was chug-a-lugging one beer after another. And we try to avoid confrontations because obviously, oh, look at the bends all whacked. We don't want to have any confrontations. What we want to have is more fun flying. And today was one of the days we had a lot of fun. Days like this, you wish the summer would never end, but you know, unfortunately there's a reality. The leaves are already turning. And we still need, it's unbelievable, we still need to shim the tank further up off the mounts. So that's going to be one of our rainy day projects for the near future. Now we're back at the shop, and I wanted to make some more room for the tank shim. So what I did, I just shaved away some of the wood. Now I'm going to put some more wood on top here, but I got everything out of it. I really gutted it out, and that's an important thing that we needed to learn for the Spitfires, because we need to make that tank box big. Now what's going to happen? The tank is going to hit the header. I'm going to have to put a little V-notch in the header. in the tank. And maybe what I'll do is just do all the tanks today, since we're not going to, probably won't get to fly this tomorrow. But here's a good way to gouge wood out. I took an old machinist ruler, which is hardened steel, and just ground an edge on it, and what that allows me to do is get right in there and get out all the wood. Then I got a sanding stick. This looks like butchery, and it is, to get the last little bit out, and that sanding stick just goes in there, and it's going to give me about probably another 1/8 of an inch of ability to shim the tank when this whole job is done. And it's one of the things we really need to have absolutely in the Spitfire, is a giant tank box, so that we have all the options on tanks. Now it turns out in the very beginning I thought we'd need a bigger tank, and we don't, but we do need the ability to shim the tank off the mounts a lot more than, and I think it's just the physical size of the engine that makes that center of suction higher on a 90 than say in a 76. And of course, if we ever want to put the 76 in here, we can just shim this. Then we'll have plenty of well, that little extra room is not going to be a problem in any way. And this will be a full day job getting this tank floor done. The leaves are already falling. It's supposed to be chance of showers and breezy today, but if we can even get a gauge on where this tank shim should work out, now that we have a bigger tank box, even just a couple of flights to see if we've got it any closer, if we need it any bigger, but we need to know that before we go ahead and finalize the plan for the Spitfire. And there go our commuters off to New York City, as we hoped that we get some flights with the Wild Hogs today. And this is important now. Now pay attention, this is really something special. All summer there's been 3 vets here. The red one went first, the blue one went second. So if you're thinking Christmas time, Wendy would love to have one of these vets. You got it. And now you don't have to decide whether you buy me the red one, the blue one, or the black one. The only one left. It's hard to believe. Cafaro must be making a fortune selling all these vets. I'm so jealous. Anyway, does not look like a promising day, to be honest. Well, by the time we got to the field today, it was a blowaway. Some nasty weather coming in here, and I thought, well, Karen gave me the idea. Today would be a good day to clean out the garage. Now, once a year we do this, and if you can imagine the crap that I save over the course of a year, usually I fill up about 20 garbage bags with just the junk that accumulates over a year. It's just unbelievable. And today's a good day to do it. Karen's right. She went out garage sailing, and I'm throwing out all the stuff we bought at the last 20 garage sales. But it's time to decorate for Halloween too. So we got two motors. We got to find the Halloween stuff, and then we got to see if we can. You know what I found? And I couldn't believe it. I found a box. Let me show this. This is unbelievable. In the course of going through this garage, and I forgot, you can tell what a junk saver I am. I found a box with about 100 props that all are set up and balanced for the 90. Look at it, there's a whole sprue of them there, 15 and 16 inch props. Wow, look at this. Boy, is that a find. And I've got, now see, I just bought a caulking gun. You know what, I had 12 caulking guns, but I didn't know where any of them were. This is the fun of cleaning out the garage. You find all these treasures. So after the better part of a day, a lot of my garage, amazing, we found that box of props. All of this stuff's going bye-bye. And boy, I feel like I'm ready for the building season. I usually do this one fall day just before the building season. And check this out. Even I'm impressed. Look at this garage. Now we're living large. Now we're ready for the building season. See, I can't build when I got this hanging over my head. We got enough Brodak dope and thinner, I think. We're ready. And it's this time of year, actually, that Karen and I like to do a little motorcycle riding too. So, and a little snow blowing when that day comes, and we're just about done with the lawnmower. But it feels good to have this done. Are we ready to decorate for Halloween? We're ready to go get our stuff for Halloween. It's time. And pretty soon we'll be shutting down the pond. Tomorrow's Flushing. Fall is in the air. We're sure not missing a flying day today, that's for sure. And as this day comes to an end, the only thing left is the decorating of the Halloween on our porch. How's it going, baby?
Oh, go away with
How's it going?
I need some help. I can't get some things in.
Karen's pride and joy. The festivities never end here in Rutherford. They just never end.
I need you to tack this down somehow.
I'll put a nail in it.
It's a real tomato fit inside.
We're all decorated up here, and the only thing left, get a good night's sleep, because tomorrow morning we got to get up early and go over to Flushing for the annual Flushing meet, and the weather is supposed to be beautiful. Looks like a spectacular morning as we head out to Flushing. We have to go through Manhattan, of course, and over the bridges. This is the first time we'll be in Flushing in, I think, in 4 years, so. And my vet, it's still there, Karen. Karen, yes, got the checkbook with you? There's my vet, it's black.
Dream on, baby.
Dream on. And the last time we went to the George Washington Bridge, from our house to here, took 3 hours because of traffic. Now this morning it took 6 minutes. What's wrong with that picture? Boy, everything's crystal clear this morning over the city. Lampione might have lucked out today. We're gonna find out. There's Yankee Stadium. Yankee Stadium right there. Now the only problem.
Good luck, Yankees.
Good luck, Yankees. They start the postseason this week. Only one problem. They're in Baltimore, so we're not going to hit Yankee traffic on the way back. But boy, oh boy, are we going to hit it by Shea? Because Shea Stadium, they're playing the last game of the season. They're in a tie for first place, so it's going to be a nightmare to get out of Flushing. Flushing is right next door to Shea Stadium. Now, as we come up on the Triborough Bridge, if you look off to the left here, that's the real Hellgate Bridge. That's the Hellgate Bridge that Lionel Trains made the model of, and it comes all the way around. God, it's miles long. There it is.
She just got started You ain't leaving, thank God, are you? Can't be gone fast enough.
Now this is LaGuardia Airport off to the left here. And when I was a kid, you could see the Connies with the triple tails right there. They don't park planes there anymore. The big triple tails on the Connies would be parked right there. Here's the, it's all blocked with parking now. You can't even see the airplanes much. And there's Shea Stadium. That's where the big brouhaha this afternoon. We'll see if the Mets are gonna win. But there'll be traffic coming back. The old tower from the World's Fair and the big globe over here. Queens Zoo. Passed a lot of cool stuff on the way to Flushing. Now, Flushing Meadows, you can see the planes already flying, and the wind looks like they've already got a little bit of breeze blowing. Oh, the geese are here. They got more. Now we know where all the geese are. They all went to Flushing. Look at these geese. The Flushing geese. Oh my God. Priority parking. So this is where they had the unfortunate accident with the guy with the helicopter. Was flying here illegally and flew into another person. Almost killed him. Mike Chiodo, always looking to steal at the thunder. His toolbox explodes on the way to the field. Oh, you guys are dangerous. You'd be a hell of a terrorist. The bomb would blow up in your bathroom or something. Ah, what a brisk morning. The breeze is blowing. The crowd's all here. Hey! All the women of Flushing are here. We can do a Playmate calendar today. Oh, I see they put a sign up since that guy got whacked. Rich Jacobone, one of the first ones out here on a practice flight. A cool, brisk morning, a little breeze blowing. Typically in Flushing you get a little more wind because we're right near the ocean. And boy, that LaGuardia Airport brings back memories. Those Connies, all those triple tails sitting there. Amazing. Amazing how you remember that stuff. And at Hellgate Bridge, Lionel Trains made $1 million out of modeling that bridge. In real life, when you see it, it's absolutely gigantic. And of course, you go right past Yankee Stadium, the World's Fair, so it's quite a ride out here. Quite a ride. A lot of scenic things, and Manhattan, of course. And we should have us a day today. And it's a sad side note, is the last 2 years they've been absolutely blown out with bad weather. So it's good to see that they caught a break today. And there's some prizes to be given away, some motors, some kits, some ARFs, whatever he's got over there. There's a pile of stuff. And a sad side note, this is the first meet they've had at this field since the passing of Big Jim Green away. This was Big Jim's home field, of course, for many, many years. And unfortunate, that accident, it was a horrible accident. The guy was flying helicopters illegally, and it's a pretty involved thing, but they were almost lost the field, so let's hope that doesn't happen. It seems funny to me where they have, not funny, but in the town that Karen works in, they have high school football, and there was a boy that had a concussion and pretty seriously hurt. They didn't even talk about shutting down football, but one guy gets hurt with model planes and they want to shut it down. It's just an attitude we have to live with, I guess. Anyway, I think we'll go over and get signed up and see how the day plays out. Looks like it's going to be a good one.
They are if you want to.
Boy, if there ever was another special guy, Joe Ortiz, the late Joe Ortiz. Yeah, we'll go over and see our man Jose Modesto, one of the driving forces here at Flushing. Jose finally got his shark together. This is the one that was lost on the way to Indianapolis to the team trials. Oh my God. And of course we're right in the landing pattern for LaGuardia, so you're going to see this all day long. Yeah, Jose and I and Kent and everybody, we had some adventure at the team trials because this puppy got lost. He should name, the name on the wing should be The Lost Shark of Flushing. Hank Womble, a winner of the concourse at our meet, at the Circle Burner meet, Cal Park meet. Mike Chioda is going to be flying his Brodak Olympic. An Olympic kit. Very unusual starting routine here. I don't know what this is all about. It's a new sideways system. I don't know what this is all about. we'll try the upside down system. Jose Modesto is going to put up a flight on the Shark. The Indianapolis Shark. World Traveler. All right, Jose Modesto, the king of Indy. Need a plane shipped anywhere in the world? See Jose. He'll personally guarantee you don't get it. But boy, it didn't spoil 1 minute of our time. We had a great time. Actually, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have seen the Connie, the big Connie. The Yashchenko Shark, and boy, they are everywhere. What are you talking about, Suarez?
Yeah, what's his story?
Maybe he's got to work or something. I haven't seen him all year. He didn't even come to the Nats.
Yeah, he didn't show up anyway.
Well, you know, he's got a tough job. I don't wish that on anybody. I like that, watching the commuters go by train to work and then you go flying. And then you're all eating pizza and the commuters are coming back from Wall Street. Well, anybody doesn't know, I had a little over 2 years of working at 67 Broad right on Wall Street. And it was like a nightmare. The job was great. I loved the job. The commute, it could go anywhere from an hour to 3 hours each way, depending on, and you never knew. And when it snowed, forget it. You'd have to leave at 5 o'clock in the morning to get to work at 9. Unbelievable. And people do it in the New York area, they do it regularly, and they suck it up and do it. And now, and as if that wasn't bad enough, then you pay New York state tax, New Jersey tax, and New York City tax. So when you're done, you owe them money. It's unreal. It's an unreal lifestyle, the New York City moment. Anyway, that Hellgate Bridge, every time I go past there, another story I remember when I was a kid, my mother would tell me, those big concrete columns, they were pouring those concrete columns, and several guys, more than one, fell in and they never got the bodies out. They're still buried in there. There's some kind of little memorial, a monument to them that obviously they couldn't stop pouring the concrete. I'm not sure exactly what the real story is, but that was the story that was handed down. And boy, that is something to see in real life. Another thing too, where we are, you almost can see it from where we are, is where the World Trade Center used to be, the World Trade Center, the World's Fair. They have the globe. I think we're going to pass it on the way home where you can see it, the big, a lot of the buildings are still there, a lot of the things that are still in that area. It's pretty neat. Another one of the Ukrainian motors, Rick Campbell's ship.
Flying over there? Yeah, good. Forward to see you guys flying.
Bob Krug's the only one here with a gorgeous pit crew. Ah, hey Karen, take a lesson from this. I don't think Karen's gonna go for that. I just don't see that in my future. Nah, Karen's not going for that. Not happening, huh, Wendy? No Ducati, no Vet, and she ain't carrying my plane, so.
It won't run right, too full, because it looks like he's choking the plane. No, you can have these if you want.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Big Jim's famous one-hand launch.
Nah.
No ballet-like stance. Big Jim getting ready to test ride his new JTO rocket and foot for heavy PMs and foot for heavy pattern.
You know, my hands are greasy. Give them to Karen. You know, I'm writing an article for Control Line World. I'll try to get copies and I'll get them back to you.
Okay. And when I sent these.
I'm not. Lunch is always at Tom's. Lunch is always at Tom's. I quit customs.
I had a good year so far. Yeah, this year.
A little bissel. So how was your summer? Hot and sticky.
Why don't you come over and join us here, Mikey Rogers? Mikey Rogers, come over and join us, Mike. We need you to sing for us.
He's gonna dance for us too.
I was waiting for
Dancing with the Stars, dancing with Mike Rogers.
I know he gets you. Well, thanks for coming. I hope we get more. They may straggle in. This would be our third Joe Ortiz Memorial because we never got to do it last year. So maybe we'll make this 3 and 4, you know. So obviously Joey is definitely looking down on us. You know, I don't know what he did last year. He obviously went on vacation. He was
crying.
So 2 weeks in a row he was on vacation. I mean, but we got a great day. We got great judges. We got dynamite contestants. We got a lot of camaraderie.
What about the women, Bobby?
The women.
Something you should know a little bit about. Very little.
Hey! Lorraine Lampione.
Hey!
And,
Joan
And that other one.
Joan Eldon. Right.
And that other
And
one.
we got
He dropped the
my
ball.
Sharia Moore in the corner there. And we got Muriel over here.
No wonder he had trouble with women his whole life.
I'm sure their husbands won't mind.
Once in a while he drops
So
the
listen,
ball.
here's what we're going to do. We're going to do intermediate and begin here in this front grass circle. We might actually do ARF here. It depends on how many of you guys are also going to fly ARF. Or we might do ARF in the back with the advanced guys. And I really don't know how many we got, so we'll see. Expert will be here. And your judges for expert are 2 expert judges. We got Sleepy Dawson, who is a nationals judge. So you know he's been well trained. And we got Mikey Rogers, an old timer out of the old woodwork. Where is that Mike Rogers? There he is. You'll know him. He'll be the guy with the blanket on his shoulders.
He's the one that does ballroom dancing at the middle.
And if, in between flights, you'll see him do a little hustle. The advanced judges are going to be Jim Borelli and Jose Modesto, our cameraman. And for expert, for intermediate and beginner, we're going to have John, raise your hand, John. I forget John's last name, but there you go. And Ron Heckler. And then in between flights, Ron will do a little magic tricks for you. So, you know, throw the money his way. He needs the money. All right, guys. I guess, again, I'd like to thank you all for coming. As you probably a lot of you are aware, we lost Big Jim. We're losing too many of us old guys, so we really need to hang on. We lost Dick Kurth a year ago. We lost Big Jim just 2 weeks ago. Joe Ortiz, naturally, unfortunately, and there's one other. Oh, There.
Guy Fletcher.
Guy Fletcher. Thank you very much.
Really?
And next year, if we're lucky, maybe we'll run another memorial contest in honor of those guys. I hope that we could pull that off, you know. I want you all to have fun, all have a great contest. For those who have passed and for our soldiers in Vietnam, actually we got some Vietnam vets here. For our guys overseas who are fighting their asses off so that we could be here and have this fun, I'd like to do the Lord's Prayer in their honor and for those who have passed. And also Walter Umlin is fighting some sickness. He's not doing too well. So I'd like to offer the Lord's Prayer to him. And any of your intentions that you guys might have, by all means, or pray to your God. I don't know who he is. He might be the same as ours. If he's not, you're certainly welcome. You know, he covers everybody. So, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. And if you want to do the Protestant one, for thine is the power, the kingdom, and the glory forever and ever. Before we get started, guys, I'd like to do the national anthem. This is a sporting event. I know that you guys figure out this Lampioni's going to do it again, and I am. So if you'll join me in the national anthem, I'd appreciate it. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, with stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Hey, let's fly! If you need to see...
Now, unfortunately, because of the layout of this whole field, the problem here is, as always, we can't even come close to getting the camera. The fence is only 10 feet from the field. So we're going to leave the camera here, see what we can get, look at a flight or two, see if any of this is worth, and if nothing makes it to the final video. The only other place we can put it is if the wind changes, totally downwind, we might be able to do that.
We're going to have 2 flights, and we can get him in.
Tu ai pilotat?
Ăla, vezi? Dacă avionul la rutine, ne?
Decolează, tata.
Decolează.
Pleacă avionul.
Bine pleacă.
Asta trebuie să fie puternică, că stau în baza oameni și încă sunt picioare.
Vine la Bibi. Pleacă!
Cred că e punctează, uite, să facă cer din ăsta perfect, la înălțime constantă, da, după aia la cascadorii. Wow!
Ia uite-l! Asta duci!
Și am merge cu roatele în sus, tata!
Bine pe la Vivian!
Merge și la mâinile lui. Numai din alea cu 2 axe.
Acum e nenea, dă punctajul nenea, nenea și notă. Notă-i dă, da, arbitru. O, face arcertură. Uii! Uii! Dacă ești.
Imagine că, vai ce frumos a fost. Uite un pic, a avut o zvâcnire. Uite acolo, vezi? Go, go.
Uite, mama. Wow, wow.
Vai da fan.
Sus jos, sus jos. N-a venit. Al nenea vine, da, după ce termină avionul ăsta, vine altul. Dar merge ceva.
Da, un gust să facă ce poate.
Da, asta e gustul?
Asta nu aduce aterizare pentru...
Mai este, mama, dar termină nenea.
Da, mi-a plăcut. Văd pe fondul să am putea să iau camera. Avionul la mare cum vine, știi? Ăla, trebuie să fie un om mare care îl ține pe ăla cu sfoara.
Rich Jacobone, round one. And the wind is shifting a little bit, so we really are limited to where we can put the camera here. Let's see how this plays out. I think that's about as good as we can get it right now. Okay, we're going to try a different position with the camera. Still round one. John DeTavio, Jose Modesto, Wendy, and I don't know who's after me.
So now what happened is Jose Modesto was judging. He didn't actually fly at this point in time, and they called my name, and I was the next up. And I wish we could have gotten a little better camera angle here, but as the way it worked out, I'm glad we got what we got.
without a problem. Let's see. This is Dave Eiskens flying now, but obviously this is almost of no value at all for the rest of the flight. I think we're pretty well going to resign ourselves to not having tripod footage today, unless the wind changes. Because if we move further to the right, we're going to be right in the sun. That's not going to work either. But it's moved out here. I don't know where it was on my flight. I don't remember where I was flying. Okay, that was David Eiskens from A Bad Camera Angle, round one. In this New York skyline in the background. Oh, there's Karen Arnowski. Oh, you look just like Karen Arnowski.
I do.
What's up, my honey?
Waiting for the scores.
Dave Eiskens, round one. All right, Tina. Hey. Bill DeMauro up next. Bill DeMauro is one of the Flushing regulars. As I look at our own Circle Burner president, Mike Cooper, getting ready to have his flight. And believe it or not, I think it's even on this tape or the one before it where the wing came off. It's back on. Like magic. The man is the repair king. How long did it take you to put that wing back on, Mike?
1 day.
1 day, right? Okay. These are windy. Looks like he's got his son launching. Bill DeMauro, he's been around for a long time. SV11, not sure if it's a PA power or whatever's in there, can't tell. And boy, the day is playing out beautifully. Now, one of the little idiosyncrasies of flying at Flushing is not only do you have to deal with the wind almost all the time, or much of the time, the circle is concentric, so if you try to roll a real long takeoff on long lines and you're not in the middle, it can be exciting. So I'm sure Bill knows that. He's flown here for a long time. And again, see, when we're in this position, and this is nice that we're in this position now, see the way the wind is blowing, but now we got the judges to deal with, so you really can't win. You're really always under the gun here. Boy, you can see the air right now is really nice. Oh my God. Well, virtually everybody here is a Mets fan. I'd say maybe there are a few naysayers, and they're all waiting to see. The game is going to start at 1 o'clock, and there's several people have brought radios, because if they lose this game, and the Marlins, they're at war with the Marlins. They had a fist fight out on a field the night before, and I think more than one bench clearing brawl. The teams really don't like each other, so. A lot of baseball action. I guess by this afternoon the Jets will be playing, and the Giants. If you're a sports fan in the New York area, you gotta, right now you got a lot of action going on, even though some of it's not that good. And when you count the Knicks, the Nets, the Rangers, the Islanders, the Devils, there's a lot of sports beyond baseball and football, the obvious ones. And I think we have the best sport of all. You know, imagine if they had senior citizen football would be a good choice. Look around this field now. Picture what kind of a football team you could field. Datavio at quarterback, Jacobone at linebacker. Brian's the only one under 50 years old on the field, I think. Lampione could be the coach. We can't trust him to go out on the field. We're growing old gracefully. It's good to see. Here's Mike Rogers. Haven't seen him in a couple of years. He is certainly one of the best builders and finishers, period. Always very good friend to Big Jim. I'm sure like all of us, he misses Big Jim. And I can remember back in the 80s, if I look back at some of the old tapes, a day like today, Big Jim would be sitting out here on a barrel and giving us all a hard time, and needless to say, we usually deserved it. Telling us we didn't know anything about stunt, he was usually right. We really do miss him. But it looks like the day is playing out better than you could ever want. Just couldn't be better. And as if that wasn't good enough, I have a secret weapon. Look at this. Peanut butter sandwich. Who says Karen doesn't feed me? Got the best peanut butter sandwich. I know it's good because it just dripped all over my arm and it's drooling down my arm. I'll have to wash it after this flight. We're coming up 2 weeks from now. The last contest will be here. We have 2 weeks of contests left. And then we will be aggressively getting together with Joe Adamusco, getting some controls in those Spitfires. I'm itching. Finalize the plans. Got to make some key decisions yet with Joe, but one thing we really uncovered in the last couple of weeks was just how big that tank box has to be for a 90. When you want to use a variety of tanks, that box has to be a minimum 5/8 of an inch shim under the tank. And that pretty much is exactly what a Sato 90 is. So I think it has to do with the height of the engine, but I'm not sure. And nobody else seems to know either. Okay, DeMuro's first flight. Next up, Mike Cooper flying an SV11 with a PA-51. My wife spares no expense at a contest when we pack our picnic lunch. It's peanut butter and jelly, or you can have jelly and peanut butter. Mike Cooper. Two days ago, the wing came off of his plane, so we're looking for some action here. Yeah, Mike could do a good repair. He knows what has to be done. It has to be glassed. And every one of us has had the experience of folding a wing. This didn't really fold. It broke at the end where I think the glass ended, but I'm not sure. We didn't really pull it apart and look, which actually we should have done. That's a good peanut butter sandwich, baby.
Here's your water.
Thank you. I like being weighted on hand and foot. This is good while I'm shooting video. I need a little foot massage, Gary. I take my shoes off and powder my feet. Don't hold your breath, Wendy. Actually, it's funny. I'm sitting here eating a peanut butter sandwich while I'm shooting video. Trying not to miss anybody's flight, or I hear about it when these people that I missed their flight. Believe me, I hear about it. So what happened is, I squeezed the sandwich, all the jelly goes right out on my shirt. Then my elbow goes into the jelly. I got this nice big giant belly, but it goes right into the jelly. Actually, we're close enough to Shea Stadium. We probably will hear it if somebody hits a home run on the Mets. It's going to be exciting. It's been an exciting baseball season if you're really a fan. Anyway, I had spoken to Dave Eiskens, and I thought one of the things he would be worth trying on his setup would be, especially because it's such a nice day here, try an extra head gasket just to soften up that 2-cycle power. I don't know if he's going to try it after the contest or whatever, but he's really got some, it's overpowered in a lot of spots on the pattern. And boy, that gets difficult. Wing over, pull out, when you know it's going to go, wah! Oh man. That can take a lot of the fun out of it. And Mike's putting in a nice flight here. Just another case of, and I always encourage people to fix models. Don't put them in a dumpster. There's another one that's still in the. Jose, when you up? Okay. Henry Forbes is here. Again, we haven't seen him. He's had some health issues, but good to see him. Really good to see him. And as Bob Lampione said so eloquently, I think Joey's up there looking down on us. Joey, if you're looking down on us, we miss you. Boy, I could use up several videos talking about the contributions that Joe Ortiz made. A lifetime of service to the sport we all love. Look, you can use the airliner for an intersection. Look at this. Can you believe that? All day long. If you like to look at the bottom of airliners, this is the place to be. Flushing Meadows, 2007. So far, a really nice day playing out for us. Now, listen to this engine at the end. When we were listening to it in Powell Park, at the end of the run, when it goes lean, it starts chewing itself up. It could use a bigger outlet on the muffler. It gets to that point where it starts detonating, and then that's a real problem. And it definitely doesn't do anything for your engine life or for your impression that at the end of the flight, ball bearings are bouncing around in there. Anyway, I know Mike knows about it, but I don't think there's any. Yeah, there it goes. It's starting to do it right now. I don't think there's other than getting another muffler with a bigger outlet. Mike Cooper. You hear all this detonation? I don't know if you can hear it. And that really hurts an engine. That's not good for an engine. I was hoping maybe Brian could weld on a little piece of tubing, a little bigger diameter. Brian's got that solder and stuff. Could save Mike's engine maybe. Anyway, good repair. It held up. All right, next up, Brian Manow. One of the 4 hogs. The stunt hogs of Palisade Park. The wild hogs. Flying the very popular Rojet 76 Strega ARF combination.
And then everybody talks like it. It works. And then one of the movements I have.
Stevie McBride in the back. I'm not sure if he got a bad setting or chipped the prop. All right, we're getting ready for Brian's flight. Stevie called his flight off. Golden Euro's obviously going to enter a Cardinal ARF. They have an ARF event over there. I don't know how many entries they have.
I know why they did a cut down. I went into cardiac arrest. So they turned the catheter. I thought somebody was so history and I could feel the tongue. And then what it was skipped me down the path.
Some action going on. Look at this body motion. Whew. That's some body action there, baby. This is worth watching. All right, Brian Manow, first official. The Rojet Strega combo. Brian just got back from a wild pig hunting trip. I got to hear more about it. As many of these ARFs as I've flown over the years they've been out, this is probably the best flying one. This is the easiest flying one. Brian really did a good job on this. Controls are nice and solid. Solid motor run. I think it's about 70 ounces the way it is. Now, as you can imagine, I just saw the battery light come on, so we may lose the middle of Brian's flight here. you never know. These batteries are really getting old. They're supposed to give you a 2 or 3 minute warning. Sometimes the light comes on and 30 seconds later it shuts the camera off. So we'll see how it goes until we get... We'll be dead, literally dead. If we don't get it, Bry, I'm sorry. It's wild hogs as always.
Anybody flying off? Anybody flying off? Get ready to do off in the back circle.